Oh, hello. All right, let's see here. I got to grab an image for the email list. Okay, let's go ahead and just crop this guy. If you're showing up and you're like, what is going on? This will be a little bit weird. Let's see here. Don't mind me, just making an image for the thumbnail. Ooh, that light flicker is going to be not good. All right, let's see here. Let's throw this image in this email. Upload. See how this goes. URL here. Add a link. Add a link. What do you make them? All right. Continue that. All right. Let's hit send. Let's see what happens. And let's go over to this. Well, hello, if you're showing up, peeps. I'm just putting up this last message here. Ooh, I need to learn how to type. Okay. All right. We're gonna cool. Let's go ahead and hit send on this. I wonder what that's going to look like in Slack. We'll see. Ooh, doesn't look great. See how that goes. Hello. I have no idea where to look. I'm used to looking this way. What's up, peeps? Elise, Life and Design, Humaira, Joelle, hello. Cool. All right. I wonder why this is, let's see. I guess it's just going to show that way. Um, Obviously, you can see me, which is fantastic. You all can chat. If you're subscribers, I just turned on subscribers because I figured this being the first time that I've done a live video here on YouTube in many years, the last thing I wanted was to deal with like a bunch of random people chatting and then it just being super awkward and super weird for me to figure that out. Hey, Fran, how's it going? All right, I'm getting my my windows set up here, and I'm going to let's see here. I'm going to take this. I'm hoping it's going to be able to share the screen over on this side. Let's take a look. So let's share the screen. Allow that. Oh, I can just share a tab. Okay, let's see how that goes. Let's see. Ooh, I think I want to share a window. Yeah, let's share a window. And there I am down in the bottom. Cool. All right, that's fun. That works. So you all can see my screen, which is fun. Yeah, I do weird pretty well. It's about the only thing I do pretty well, to be honest. That and cinnamon rolls, I guess. I've gotten pretty good at those. Chloe, good to see you. Estrella, good to see you. I have no idea how this is going to go, and I have already started working on this project. But first of all, for those of you who are here live, you can see what I can see, which is this window along with myself in the bottom corner. I don't think I can move me. I think I have to stay down in the bottom right. So again, first time doing this screen share and all this stuff. So if it works for you, then that's good enough. And I will just play around and we can see what happens here as we go. And for those of you who have never seen anybody work in one of these little AI coding tools, this might be a first for you, which I'm excited to share that with you. Let me go ahead and close this. So that works. Kim, good to see you as well. All right, I'm gonna just start working on this. I actually have already started working on this, and I will give you the breakdown of what it's like to work in one of these kind of projects. So this interface that you're looking at is called Lovable. It is an AI tool, kind of like ChatGPT, where you have this prompt box down in the bottom here, and you can just tell it to do things. So what you're looking at is I created a landing page and I just had an inspiration image that I found on Dribbble, which let's see here, was just this image. So this image, I just really liked kind of the elements of it, and I wanted to use it as inspiration to create a landing page. And I don't even know if this product is actually going to exist and be something that people can use because I don't know if the functionality is going to work yet, but we're going to find out. And then I just used the app Coolers to pull some of the colors in. So that's all I did to kind of like create the brand, if you will, for this, which I didn't want to spend much time on at all. And I would probably go back through and redo it. And then I told the app to make a landing page. And so I just literally said, make a simple landing page, have a couple of boxes that talk about features of this thing, have a little like see it in action box, which we had to tweak a little bit back and forth. And then it just added some buttons and things. When it first starts this, it just uses this like really simple out of the box UX and UI framework called Tailwind, and really just a UI framework. And it doesn't look good. It's not fun. And so I just told it to make the borders thicker, make these awesome dark shadows, add little hover states here and there. So that takes a little bit of tweaking. And then I just chose a random Google font to like throw in here, and it picked this other font. But that landing page didn't exist a couple minutes ago, and now it exists, and it is a thing. So the next thing that I did was creating authentication. So this is a really easy step when using a thing like Lovable, but if you've ever tried to build an app or worked with anybody who has, authentication is not really a simple thing to do, but it integrates with this app called Supabase, which is just a database tool. And you literally just tell it, hey, I want to create authentication, signing in, signing up, forgot password, and it sets all that up. Again, when it starts, it's a very like kind of ugly looking form, but I just set it up myself here and created an account. And so there's a couple little settings you have to play around with, but I'm not going to bore you with showing you those things. There are plenty of other videos on Lovable that do that, but I just kind of wanted to show you working with Lovable and actually doing a thing. So where I got to was I created a dashboard page, And I'll explain what this thing does here, but I just kind of want to get you caught up. And all of this is stuff that I have essentially coded. So like, this is what things normally look like when you're just starting to work in Lovable. Like, this is kind of the Tailwind. It's the name of the UI system that kind of it pulls from. And so it's fine. It's very clean. It's very simple, but like, I wanted it to be fun. Like this little log out button, I just told it like what I wanted this to look like. I said, hey, make it a button with a log out icon that's pink and has the rounded look. And then when you hover over it, have the word log out. And then when you click it, do a thing. Same thing with the settings button. I added that. And all the settings button does right now is it updates the stripe key, which you can see doesn't follow the UI thing. So here, like, we can just do a very simple thing together. One thing I love about Lovable is when you're building something that has this little select icon, which basically just you can select different elements on the page. So if I select this, it'll know that it's this div. So I'm just going to tell it in plain language, please update this modal to have our UI styling we're using throughout on the border, shadow, and button. Make it fun. Sometimes I just like to tell it to have fun because I think that helps. Rachel, good to see you. Christy, good to see you. Again, you're jumping in, and I've already kind of like worked on this project, but I am excited to show you like little things that happen throughout working on this, because it's not perfect, and we have yet, my wife Caroline is not on screen, but she's here. We've worked on a bunch of these different things, but none of them have been like made public yet where people can use them. But let's see here. So it said it updated the modal, and I don't know if it's going to keep it up to date. We'll see it. It might close it, and then I have to open it again. But you can see when it's doing stuff, it's saying saving changes, or it's got this little loading circle here. So this is going to be a lot of what working in Lovable is. If you're watching someone do it live, is you get to watch the loading states. And typically this is like whenever I'm in the saving changes thing, I'm always like multitasking and doing like stupid little things, because it can just take a while to do some of the smallest things. Like this one is clearly taking a lot longer than you would think to just change the look of a modal. Sometimes it's super fast. I think sometimes when like a lot of people are using Lovable, it tends to slow down a bit. But you really can't do anything until it finishes. But I'll explain the project while this is finishing. So look, there you go. It finished. So you can see how it went from ugly to this nice little rounded border. I would say these borders are not as round as I would like through the rest of things. But it updated the font. It updated this button. The button's got a hover. And again, I just did that with doing that. It always asks to refactor code. Sure, you can refactor. So I'm going to let it refactor code because it really likes to do that, and I don't like to slow it down. Unless there's an error, I pretty much let it do it. But this is the idea for this little project that I want to build. Is I created this project a while ago that was called Bump Sale. And the idea was you could set a starting price, and then you could set an incremental price that the price would change by after each buyer then purchased. So if the price started at $20, someone bought, like let's say Ray Chili bought for $20, then the price would go up, let's say I said by $1 per purchase, then Michelle would see it at $21, and then Michelle would buy, and then Estrella would see it at $22, and so on and so forth. It would go up, and you could set the bump to be $1, $2, $5, $10, 10 cents, whatever you wanted. But the idea that I've been having for a while is, let's say you're doing a launch of a product and you want it to be open for 2 weeks, but you don't want to mess around with the constant, like, I have an early bird for this, and then I have like a separate discount for this. You kind of know the schedule of your launch, and you say like, okay, in the first 7 days, I want it to be available for $100. And then after 2 days after that, I want the price to change to $125. So it's rewarding people who are buying in early. And then the last 3 days, I want it to be $150. So you can kind of just like set this schedule and then set the price increase. And I think it's just kind of an interesting idea. And I just wanted to play around with that doesn't exist right now. So I wanted to see if I could build it. It also made me think like you could use then this product as a way to sell something in just like a flash sale, where you could say, hey, for today only, for 12 hours, my product is going to be for sale, and every hour the price is going to go up by $10. And so you could do that with this app as well. So where we're at right now, what I've created is the dashboard page, which you see here. I've added a connection to Stripe. So my Stripe account has been added through an API key, which again, I literally just typed in here, hey, I want to connect my Stripe account. You know, tell me how to do that. And then it like created a button and it created that little modal where you can see we added a Stripe key. So that's just my Stripe key that's already been added. So technically it's connected. And then now the thing that I wanted to do is I want to create a product and I want to add these pricing stages. And then I want to generate this shareable link. So essentially what that should give me is a Stripe checkout URL afterwards. And then the big thing, the whole point of this app is that it will create a floating window that sits atop a Stripe checkout page. That I have no idea how it is going to work. But let's not focus on just like the prettying up of this, because that's usually where you can spend a ton of time chasing things down in this. So let's just, I actually want to ask it a question here, which I love in this that they've added, where you can just do chat. Okay. And I like to talk to like a person. I'm in the dashboard with my Stripe account connected, and I'm about to create a product and set the price schedule. Can you tell me what the steps are that will happen after I name the product and set the price? This will build everything in my Stripe account, and then I'll have a place to add the success URL and redirect URL when the schedule expires. Let's see what it says. This is why I like chatting with it, because you can kind of find out from Lovable as like what it's thinking about and also what it hasn't thought about yet. So I talked to it about one of the things that I want to do for this is when you create a product, it's going to create a checkout page. Well, I want that checkout page to then have a redirect upon successful purchase to go somewhere else. So that would be directly to, let's say, like a PDF. If you're selling a PDF, it would be directly to maybe a login page for, let's say you use Teachery and you want to direct someone to like a free sign up page for that. It could be to a page on your site that has instructions, a Notion page, whatever you want. And then when the deal is done, you obviously want that checkout link to then expire and not be used anywhere. So those were things I told it before. We'll see if it remembers. So let me walk you through what happens after you create the schedule. A new product will be created in your Stripe account. We'll check that. A price stage in your schedule will be created as a separate Stripe price object. Cool. I don't know anything about those things, so that's great. The system will store the schedule information in Supabase, which I already connected, which is the thing you do at the very beginning of this, which is very easy. You just literally click and connect. This is includes the sequence of the prices. When a customer makes a purchase, the system will automatically handle transitioning between prices based on the schedule. Payment flow. If you'll receive a unique payment link for your product when shared, customers will see the initial price. After purchase, the system will automatically handle the price transitions. You'll be able to configure success URL, cancel URL, customers go if they abandon the payment. Okay, interesting. I don't know what that means, but we'll find out. Expiration URL will customers grow when their schedule ends. Cool. Dashboard management. You'll see your product listed in the dashboard. You can view active subscriptions. Haven't talked about subscriptions, but that's okay. Okay, so let me make two things clear. Cancel URL. This isn't really necessary, so let's not add confusion with it. Don't need it. I don't even know what that would be because you would just leave the page, so not worried about it. And then expiration URL. This is only to be set at the very end. Sometimes I like to write in caps just to make sure it knows what I want. At the very end of the pricing schedule, not during different changes of the schedule. This would redirect the shareable link, correct? Let's find out what it says. Kevin, nice. I love that you've been playing around in this. Yeah, having a lot of fun just with all the different ideas. And maybe if we get to a place where we get stuck with this one, we can jump over to one of the other two that I'm working on and I can show you what's going on. Kitzuriel, you're right. We'll move this to keep things simpler. Great. Expiration. Yes, exactly. The expiration URL only comes into play at the very end of the entire pricing schedule. So schedule looks like $90.24 at the final stage, $2.99 for 24 hours. Anyone who tries the shareable link will be redirected. Cool. When you choose, when you create a product and set the price. All right, great. So it says it wants to implement this flow, which to me means that it hasn't actually done that. Yes, please implement that flow so I can create my first product and set the price and URLs. Cool. So let's see what it does. Also, I'm curious. Okay, cool. Nice. So I think we need one more pricing stage. We'll see what that looks like. Mark, what's going on? Let's see here. So this is a whole bunch of stuff that I have no idea what this is. We need to create a table in Supabase to store this. Okay, great. So this is why we ask it to do things, because I would have thought that we already created that when we talked about this, but it had not done that. So so it's going into the Supabase account that we've connected, creating all those tables and database things. Now I can see in the code. Yes. Sure, it's exactly what I want you to do, my friend. And you'll see, yeah, it'll refresh. Sometimes it'll log you out. It does a lot of things on its own, which is great because, again, I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to writing code. So it's just fun to see it doing its thing. So implementing the code for creating products with price schedules, create an edge function. Again, I don't know what an edge function is, but it builds those in Supabase and they make things happen. So I know that's definitely how the Stripe connection is being handled, is through an edge function. So I'm hoping that like if this app were to become live, if any of you have seen the app Bump Sale that I created, we did just an authorization connection with your Stripe account. So you don't need your API key or anything. That's probably how I would want to do this if this becomes a public facing app. But when you work just in the lovable interface like this, you can't actually use an auth thing because you're kind of working in like just a local environment on your computer. When you publish the project and deploy it, then it would be public. So, all right, cool. So it did a bunch of stuff. Supabase edge function, product URL, and then it had an error. Classic. Lots of these happen, but that's okay. You can now create products by entering a name. All right, so it's done saving, but I tend to look at these errors very minimally because I don't really know what's going on. So unless like the same error happens over and over again, then I'll look at it and try and see if I can see anything that's going on, or at least like copy the error, take it into GPT or something else, and be like, "Can you explain this error to me?" And then usually it gives me some way of rephrasing what's going on, and then giving that back to this to fix. Excuse me. All right, so it finished doing the code. Now I can tell it to just literally fix this. So I just say fix, it throws a little message in there, and then it starts working on it. So Nick, how's it going? Good to see you. I think you probably showed up right as I found an error, which is going to be a common thing as you work on this. But as Caroline and I remind ourselves constantly, the fact that we can build anything without having any coding knowledge whatsoever, we're not developers, and run into errors and like have a thing fix it is pretty cool. So, all right, let's see if it can fix this error. We're not providing the required user ID field when inserting a new product into the Supabase database. So that's probably an important thing, is we want to connect any new product to a user ID. Oh, so much using AI? Yes. Pierre, I would say your programming job is definitely not being fully replaced, because I don't think a lot of people have the patience to do this, but I can definitely see that like people like us who are willing to like spend the time do this. Okay, cool. So it looks like we have no errors. The thing I want to do with this first product is I want to make one that I can show you all that is like this product is available for, let's say, an hour, and every 30 seconds the price goes up by 30, or goes up by like $1 or something. So let's see this. So this is the like 1 hour $1 test. Let's just call it that. Expiration URL. Let's just have this go to WAIM, the website. So let's say this starts at $100, and the duration is going to be 1 hour. But I think the way that this is thinking about it is it's going to want to, like, it would want me to add a price stage like every minute. Okay, so let me explain this to it. I'm thinking of one of the scenarios I told you earlier, where I want to start at $100 and every minute the price goes up by $1. Let's say every 30 seconds, because then we can actually like see it happen. Let's say every 15 seconds. No one's going to buy this anyway, so it's more just a watch. Every 15 seconds, the price goes up by $1. I don't want to have to create a pricing stage at every 15-second increment. Do we need to adjust the settings options for this? The pricing settings options. I spelled increment wrong. It'll figure it out. It's smarter than I am, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Mark, patience, absolutely huge, for sure. Mr. Danilo, just for fun, why don't you make price randomizer based on no particular data of any importance? Just tell people, yeah, you showed up and the price is 25 bucks. If you show up again in 30 minutes, it'll be 15 bucks. We should modify the price stage component to support this incremental pricing scenario. We'll add new fields to allow user to specify. Let's see what it comes up with. I always like when you just tell it the thing that you want it to do, and then you kind of see the result that it comes up with. Sometimes it's terrible, sometimes it's okay, but at least it gives you a starting point, because a lot of times I'm not going to know what the execution of this is that I would want. So we'll see what this comes back with. Yeah, I like the I do like a little bit of chaos of, like, you have a thing and you could be like, set the price between, like, this could even do that, like set the price between 20 and 100, and it's just like you refresh the page and you get like 5 refreshes to like find your price, like whatever the best price is, and like, do you risk it and go for the 5th to see if that's lower, or like the 4th one and you choose to do it? That could be fun. Okay, so let's see here. All right, so incremental pricing. Okay, interesting. All right, so the duration is, okay, so let's see here. Just to be clear on the incremental pricing setting, when I turn that on, I see a duration. Is that the time the increment really gets me, increment will happen, or is that the total duration of the product schedule? I think we need both. Again, spelled increment wrong. See how many times I do that. So yeah, I think what it did here is it didn't necessarily think about what the total duration would be of like how long I want this to be up. So again, if I want this to be for 1 hour and then the price increases every 15 seconds, just so we can see it happen, it didn't account for both of those things. Like, it did the increment, price stage component, the duration field represents the total duration of that price stage. Okay, the price increment field shows how much the price will increase. However, we're missing a way to specify how often the price increment should occur. Okay, so yeah, in the incremental pricing, you kind of have to set that. So I went with like probably one of the most difficult scenarios I can possibly think of for this, but I think that's actually helpful because it'll be something we can actually watch, because otherwise like the price wouldn't change that much. So let's see here. Saving changes. It's adding all these things, fantastic. And again, we'll tweak all this random UI, and again, no idea why it's picking these random green colors here. All right, cool. So if I turn this off, that goes away. Awesome. So if this was like a regular launch product, what I would do is I would set this as, let's just say it's $100, and I would say the price for this is going to be, and I could set this for days, right? So it would be 2 days. And then if I add a price stage, all right, enter a product name, okay. Then it could be $120, and then that could be for 2 days. And then, yeah, I'm assuming literally from the start of like me creating this is when it would work. So interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead. It already added delete icons, which is absolutely wonderful. So let's try and do the very complicated one we're trying to do here. So starting price 100, price increase. Let's increase it by $5. We're going to increment it every 15 seconds, and the total duration is it's going to be up for 1 hour. Let's just see what that looks like. All right, so that is going to happen at the price stage. So let's name this product. So this is 1 hour, 15-second test. All right, let's add our WAIM. Should probably end up doing some sort of URL validation on the expiration URL, but we can do that later. Okay, cool. So we're all in agreement. This is our first test here of what we're going to do. I'm going to click create product. Have no idea what's going to happen. We're going to get an error. Fantastic. So let's go ahead and just tell it to fix it. And then also you saw that little toaster message, or maybe you didn't, because if my video is in the bottom right, you might not actually see, there's like a little toaster message, I think that's under my video. Again, I don't know exactly what your screen looks like as you're watching this, but there's a little message that pops up, which is nice that it does. Stripe secret key is not properly configured in the Supabase edge functions. I need to set the Stripe key in Supabase edge functions. The error message, before proceeds. Okay. So I've already added the Stripe API key. It's in. It was submitted, and you have it in the database. Please look it up and use it. I could obviously find my my Stripe key and put it in there, but I think it's like I already did it. It's in this little update thing. Yeah, see, you've already added your Stripe key through the Stripe Connect form component. We need to modify the edge function to retrieve and use that key. There we go. So it was already in there. Also, you'll hear people if you ever talk about this, but don't ever paste your Stripe key in this chat. It'll give you like little places to put it if you ever need to do that. I've updated the edge function. Ali, yes. So this is what I'm trying to build is kind of a version of bump sale. The incremental pricing thing wasn't necessarily the start of this idea. The start of this idea was you're selling a product over the course of like, let's just say 7 days, and you want the price to change every like 2 to 3 days to create some urgency across an entire like launch window, if you will. So that was the idea of just doing that without having to like create manual payment pages all the time. So, okay, so it said it did that. So let's try this again. 1 hour test. I'm going to end up shortening all the things that I was writing because I don't want to write them over and over. All right, so we're going to do incremental pricing. We're going to start $100. We're going to do $5 increment every 15 seconds, and this is going to be up for 1 hour. Let's see what happens when we create the product. Is it actually going to work? Nope. Also got an error again. So let's see if it's the same error and it's just not authorized to my Stripe account, which I think is probably what is happening. Stripe only accepts specific interval values for recurring payments, month, year, week, or day. However, our function is trying to use minute and hour, which are not supported by Stripe. Interesting. So this was trying to set up recurring payments based on the time structure. Ooh, may have to ask it about that just to make sure. Grant, yeah. So the huge difference with this is that this interface is actually building this app. So when you use GPT, you don't actually get an app that has pages, design. I mean, like it'll write code to do that, but you have no interface to see what you've built and for it to actually function and be connected to a database and like all this other amazing stuff that Lovable does, which is great. So this should resolve the error. So let me just, this is where I like flipping over to chat. Okay. Just to be converts duration units, rules. Just to be clear, we're not creating recurring payment products right now. It's a fixed price product with a price increment. I'm going to spell it right this time. Nope, didn't get it right. With a price increment change. Just want to verify that it's not trying to do something weird with like recurring payments because that would be odd. Yeah, there's a couple other tools like Lovable. There's one called Bolt. There's a couple others that you can find, but basically, yeah, the big difference is like Claude, any of these other in Perplexity, like they don't have the interface where you're actually coding anything. Oh, you're absolutely right. I apologize for the confusion. We're implementing this incorrectly. This is why you got to ask questions. Let me explain what we actually need. Current, wrong, and position. We're creating Stripe recurring prices. Don't know why. Each price stage is treated as a subscription period. This would charge customers repeatedly. We don't want to do that. One-time payment product, dynamic pricing increases over time, no recurring charges, just a single purchase at whatever the current price is. For example, price every 15 seconds, total duration 4 hours, then at 0 seconds, price is this. Cool. Yes, absolutely. Yes. If we want to do recurring, we can add that as an option later. For now, let's do fixed price only. Fantastic. This is why we ask questions. Building more complex spreadsheets in Lovable. GPT has tried helping with spreadsheets, but it doesn't understand the complexity. Ali, haven't done too much spreadsheet stuff. I actually tried to clean up a spreadsheet using GPT, and it really got stuck. It was like all these like pour over coffee recipes that I kind of like found and created, and it just got stuck and I couldn't do it. I actually found that Claude was much better at it. But the problem is with Claude is you run into limitations very quickly with like how much usage it gives you. So I think it is really tough for these AI models to handle, unless like the ones that we use, like the very consumer facing ones. I know that people use these for huge databases and they do just fine, but I have only tried it that one time and it was a little bit tricky. So, but Lovable is really for kind of like app building. However, if you want to build an interface to work with your spreadsheet in some way, Supabase is a database tool. And so you could import your spreadsheet and create a database in Supabase that then you could manipulate and use. I would, and again, like with all things with Lovable, I would start a project with it and like then just flip this from default where it's writing code to chat, and you just have to turn this on in your settings. It's like a beta feature, but it works well. Then just literally have a conversation with it about what you're trying to do and ask it questions and ask it to ask you questions, and it'll tell you if it can do it or not. But with that connection to Supabase, that kind of becomes the big database there. Okay, so we have the edge function now creates single one-time payments. All right, let's try this yet again. 1 hour test. We're gonna, again, I told you I was gonna get even simpler. We're gonna go incremental pricing, 100, 5, 15 seconds, 1 hour. Okay. Please enter the URL. All right, so we do have some URL verification in there. Okay, that's nice. Would have been nice to know that before I typed in there, but that's okay. We can't all be perfect. Okay, we have a product created successfully, so that's good to know. Although, where is it? That's always fun. Let's check one thing here. So let's go over into my Stripe account. So this is the Stripe account that I connected to Lovable. These are all the products that I have ever created. So let's see what it did if it actually created a product based on that. Nice. So it's set up, which is really cool. Let's click into it, and I think there's a way to see different prices. Maybe not. I don't know where the pricing links are here. Pricing tables? No, I don't think that's it. Okay, let's go back and let's see what it's doing. Great. We created a product, but I don't see it shown as a created product. Once I have one product created, I should see it and have a big button to create a new product. Use our UI style to show created and new products in a nice grid. I should easily be able to copy the shareable link for the created product. We're not even getting to like the really important thing, which is like, I want to be able to see the checkout page and then actually see something on the checkout page that shows that the price is going to change. That's really the magic of this, because if you can't actually see that, it kind of defeats the purpose. It is nice that it could create it and it could change it without anybody knowing, but the tricky part is that Stripe checkout pages are not that customizable. So we'll see. While this is doing that, Becky, how much does Lovable cost? Hello, Becky. Lovable, you'll have to look at their pricing thing. I think their like starter plan is $20 a month. And the way that we have thought about this is we've been paying for developers for a long time. And We sometimes pay $1,000 or more a month. I mean, definitely pay that much for Teachery, the other app that we have that has full-time developers. But yeah, I mean, if you pay a developer freelance for like $500 a month, even having Lovable up to $500 a month, which we haven't gotten to, I think the highest we got to was 300 when we were working on like 6 different apps at a time. It's still really, really worth the cost. So I think it's super fairly priced for sure. Didn't realize you could just chat with it. Yes, Ali, the chat feature that they released is really, really, really helpful. So that was a big request. Okay, all right. So the UI is not perfect here. I don't know why we have to do this gigantic thing. All right, so 1 hour test. This is going to be the absolute huge thing here. What I'm very curious about is if this project has not been published, is this link going to actually be a link? And it is not going to be, I don't think. Okay, so let's go back here and let's ask it. Great. I tried to test the shareable link and I received a 404 error. The URL looks like a lovable URL. Do I need to publish this project for that URL to actually be a Stripe checkout link? It doesn't seem like I should need to. So yeah, what I'm trying to figure out now is I've created the product, and in Stripe you can see the product exists. So like there technically is a checkout page available to see, but I think what Lovable is doing is it's creating a window that sits atop the Stripe checkout page. So it's actually like a Lovable URL, and then it loads the Stripe checkout page underneath it, which again, I don't know if that's actually going to work, but that was one of my big hypotheses to try with this. So we'll see how it goes. Let me check the current implication of the link functionality. Looking at the code, I can see we're currently generating a URL with the pattern, but we haven't implemented the actual route and component to handle this URL. That seems important. Create a route for handling product URLs, creating a component that will redirect to the Stripe checkout for that specific product. Okay, we're moving, we're shaking, we're getting somewhere, we're seeing what happens. Component, all right. So let's see here. It's still doing stuff, so I don't want to copy this link just in case it's still doing things. Usually when you don't see that it's saving code, it has finished what it's doing, but I think that's doing something with the function, edge functions in Supabase. Okay, so if we copy this again, so this looks like the same structure. Okay, so it's kind of the same thing. Okay, this is the link I get when I use the copy link button. Should that link actually work and show me the Stripe checkout page with our floating window we talked about, showing the price schedule? Let's see what it says. Yeah, this is where, again, I don't know enough about like the environment that I'm working in Lovable, and if it will work with public URLs, because technically this project is just like a project that lives in my local environment, if you will. Product page is trying to create a Stripe checkout session directly, but we need to first check if this is a valid product that anyone can access, not just authenticated users, and show the price schedule UI before redirecting to checkout. Let's update the product page to show our floating price window first. Interesting. So the way that we had talked about it earlier was that there would be a floating price window on top of the Stripe checkout page, but you can see that it's saying show the price schedule before redirecting to checkout, which is not actually what we want to do. The link should work. When you click it, you now see a floating window, show the product name, all available price schedules. Whoa, what's that gonna do? Each price has its own buy now button. What? Buddy, what did you make? No, so that doesn't do anything at all. Incorrect. Again, we talked earlier that we would see a floating window saying when the next price schedule change would happen on top of the Stripe checkout page. That's what I'm assuming I should see and I go to the URL. See what it says. This is where it just becomes fun trying to figure this out, because again, I'm not a developer, so I don't know enough about different environments and things. It shows a standalone product page instead of overlaying our floating window top of Stripe Show page. That's what we talked about doing, was overlaying. Okay, fantastic. So it's fixing that. But again, I still think I should see something instead of the 404 page. So maybe I'll tell it that we're getting a 404 error when I go to that page, and we'll see what happens. Also, I need to know when this product is going to expire. So, okay, you can see that. Can you add, and also this is where I like the select here. Can you add in a created product a clear way to show when this product will expire based on the schedule set? I can't tell right now. Need a countdown timer. That's simple. Let's see what it does. Again, these are also just the very fun things to figure out as you go what you need when you're working on one of these projects. So I didn't even think about the fact that, like, once I've created one of these products, I need to know how long is this going to last, when's this going to expire. You know, someone might only use this for one product, so it's not really going to matter, but it'll be really helpful as we're working on this live one to see what it does. Also, you can get so distracted by all of the little things. Like, I really want to change the color of this because we don't use this green anywhere. All of our button colors are blue, and I really want this grid to be a little bit more friendly. But okay, so it wants to refactor some code, but we're getting an error. So sure, let's not refactor until we take a look at this. All right, 50 minutes left. All right, good enough for now. I don't want to waste time on that. So let's copy this link again. It's the same looking link. All right, so let's go ahead and give it a screenshot here. And let's close this. There's a screenshot. Yeah. So one thing I love is that you can add screenshots either of the interface that you're working on or like other things you want to see. When I go to the copy link URL, I see this resulting 404 page. Why is that happening? Is it because our project is not published in Lovable? We should be able to generate the checkout URLs, right? Or do we need to have this project live? Let's see. Hello, Jen. Good to see you. All right, so right now where we're at is we've been able to authenticate and create users, signing in and signing up. Great job. We have been able to connect a Stripe account. Absolutely fantastic. We've been able to create a new product with fixed pricing with a pricing schedule. We've got that working. We can copy the shareable link, so it generates a Stripe checkout page, and then now we're working on actually seeing that page and going from there. Okay, so for error because the shared product URL is trying to access a route on a domain that doesn't exist yet. Okay, what are we doing here? Deploy the project through Lovable to make it live, recommended. For local testing, we can update the URL generation to use the current window location. Let's implement the second option to make it work in development. Okay. For production use, you should deploy your project through Lovable to make it accessible on the internet, obviously. Okay, so I'm going to go to this. It's still a 404 page. Let's see here. I just tried to view the copy link and it's still a 404 error. Should I go ahead and publish the project and we can try that? I don't really have any problems publishing the project because who's going to find it? I mean, it's just you guys watching this, and also like it doesn't fully work at the moment because the project needs to be published. Okay, cool. So this is where we are going to go into uncharted territories because we have yet to actually fully deploy and publish a project. So are going to do it together. I'm going to just click the button deploy because that's it. I know that with a custom domain, you have to then connect it to like Netlify and like other things, but this is doing it on its own. So that's fun. All right, so here's our landing page. Great. I'm guessing if we click this, yeah, it can auth in there. Well, let's just go through this interface and let's see what we get. All right, so I'm signed in. It doesn't know where to go. I'm gonna have to tell it to fix that. All right, so was it dash or dashboard? Okay, dashboard, that's good. All right, so now we have this copy link. Our project is deployed. All right, interesting. So it's redirecting to checkout. It's calling this a 1-hour test. So this is the thing I didn't want it to do, is I don't want to have an extra step here. Let's see. So if I click buy now, nothing happens. All right, so let's just tell it this. Oh, what do we have? We have a couple little errors popping up. All right, well, cool. So the project is deployed. All right, hide that. Okay, I deployed. I always like to celebrate things with it. When I go to the, let's see here, URL from the copy link, I see and let's just show it what we see here, because I think that's always helpful. Let me grab this screenshot. I see an interstitial page with a buy button. I expected to go directly to a Stripe checkout page with our floating window, floating window on top of the checkout page showing the next price increase, change, and a countdown timer. We'll change flirting. I mean, come on, we got to have a little bit of pride in our messages that we send over here. Yeah. It's cool. Becky, I'm glad you're enjoying it. We will, I think we'll do more of this. We're having so much fun building these projects in Lovable. It's really, really cool to be able to do this and like just make these things happen. So a novelty hat next time. I don't ever wear hats because I look dumb in hats. So, but maybe I'll change up the hoodie just to really keep you on your toes. Let's modify the project page. Okay, I've updated the project page to immediately initiate the Stripe checkout page when it loads. Show a simple loading state while redirecting. Store the next price in local storage for use in the checkout page. Interesting. Let's see what that does. All right, so, okay, so that did a little redirecting thing, but we need to use, so let's see here. Now that I've deployed this project, I don't know the answer to this question. When you make changes, do I have to deploy again, or is the live app URL always updated? Again, I'm very dumb. I don't know anything that's going on, so I like to ask it all these questions. I will say, if I was being very conscious of the amount of messages that I have, like if you're on one of the starter plans, if you're going to ask questions like this, make sure to change this to chat every single time, because it kind of like costs you credits to use the default thing, but if you use the chat, it doesn't. The live app URL will not automatically update when changes are made in Lovable Editor. You'll need to deploy again to see these changes. Okay, got it. Click deploy. Okay, great. So now we're going to redeploy. So this is going to be a button that I press very often, but that's okay, because hey, we're doing this live, you know? Ran out of time on the free plan. Allie, do you mean like you ran out of credits already with Lovable? It does happen pretty quickly. Again, once you like start playing with it, because it's doing a lot, so you have to do a lot. Okay, let's go back over to here. So we're going to refresh our app page. We're going to copy this link. We're going to all cross our fingers. We're going to go to it. Okay, redirecting to checkout, and then we got a 404 page, which I don't understand why. So let's just give it this full thing so it can see everything. And let's do this. Okay. I went to the copy link URL and saw a quick redirect message, then got this 404 page instead of the Stripe checkout page. What do we need to fix? Again, I just like asking it questions like, what do you see? Like, what's going on? Think about the routes that we're trying to go down here and just see if you can fix it. It goes real quick. It does, for sure. I'll just spend a day there. Yeah, and I do think, obviously being price sensitive, not everybody can afford different levels of what Lovable charges. But if you really think about it, as like if I was to pay a developer, I mean, a couple $100 to work on our project for you and not even know if you're going to get the result. If you're a very curious person and you want to spend a day working on something, you can raise your account price up to $100 for the day, or even like $20 or $50 and get more use out of it. Okay, see the issues. Probably need to add a success and cancel routes to our application once we're using them in the Stripe checkout configuration. I've made several improvements to fix the issue. Okay, so now we got to play this game where we deploy every single time, which is not the most fun, but hey, we're developers now, and not everything we do is fun. Okay, guys? Geez, calm down. All right, we have redeployed. Let's go back over to our dashboard here. Let's copy the link. We're going to see a redirect. We got a 404 still. Okay, so let's bring it back. Still seeing the 404 page when I go to this URL. Oh, well, it just became a 404 error. So let's grab this guy. Let's see what it says. I'm not going to ask any questions. Just going to tell it that we got the 404 error. Allie, do you have access to the chat if you are out of credits, or does it not allow you to chat? Probably because you've already run out of credits. Let's check. Looking at the product, I noticed that we need to improve the error handling and product validation. Okay. Also, we have 40 minutes left here before this product expires. We got to figure this out in that amount of time. Also, that's probably about the amount of time I'm going to be doing this. So, error handling and logging, added more detail logging. Okay. Okay, more robust. You added logging, but how does that fix the URL from working and not ending on a 404 page? Let's see what it says. Kids need to eat, yes. Squid games for coding. It's not that drastic, or is it? All right. Yeah. A lot of times also, if you do play with Lovable, you'll notice it wants to add logging a ton. Like it just always wants to add logging. And I get it. It wants to be able to see like things that are going on. But especially in like this scenario, like there's already a 404 error. I don't need to see logging. So 404 error is just the product ID and the URL doesn't exist in the database, or there's an issue with the RLS policies. Let's check the policies. I see the issue. Do you? Not always. You think you do. Only allows users to view their own products. This means that when an anonymous user tries to access the product page, they get blocked by this policy thing. Okay, sure. So this is going to add some policies. Again, these are things that I'm just like, no idea. Migration is being applied. Okay, but you threw an error. So let's just try and fix this error. Love being able to click the try to fix this error button. You will see if you work on Lovable projects that get like a little bit bigger, that error box is going to become something you see often, but it's okay. Now, this is where it can get a little bit squirrely in looking at like, it just keeps adding different policies. So I'm going to give it a chance to like have 1 or 2 times at adding these policies. But after that, we're going to move into other fixes because it'll just stay in like a loop of that. Okay, so can you review step by step how the copy link URL should work when a potential customer clicks that URL? What should happen? And does that happen now? Let's see what it says. I oftentimes like to ask it to basically go through like, hey, like what did we set up? Like what's going on? Can we walk me through, especially for like this scenario? Because a lot of times it'll go, oh, here's the steps, da 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 da, and then it'll go, oh, oops, I noticed that like I didn't do this, and that's okay because I don't know what it's supposed to do. So It's just good to ask it. So when a potential user clicks this, it does this. Current matches the behavior because the RS policy. The copy link functionality works as intended. Okay, so just to be clear, I should see a Stripe checkout page with the URL and a floating window with the price, schedule, and countdown on it. Again, just trying to get clarity here because I want to make sure that it knows exactly what we're trying to do with all these things. Someone clicks the copied product URL, they see a loading screen, they are immediately redirected to Stripe host checkout manager. There's no floating window account visible. Issue identified. Current implementation in immediately redirects to Stripe checkout without showing the price schedule or countdown. This means customers can't see this, but we don't want them to see it beforehand. So I'm going to let it finish in that. Someone visits the product link, they will see a loading screen, a product page. Incorrect. We do not want to see an interstitial page. We want the copy URL, copy link URL to go to a Stripe checkout with a floating window. Please confirm that is the code you have and that will work. This is just part of the process here. So Joelle, this is the question. So I had this conversation with Lovable to start this project off of this stream, and we went through different scenarios, and it said that it thought we could do a floating window where essentially it's like a Lovable URL with the Stripe checkout underneath it. So we're kind of doing like a little bit of wizardry here to see if that works. It may not actually work. So we're going to find that out together here. But let's see here. Let me review the code. I know it's an issue. The current code does not configure the Stripe checkout to display the floating window with the countdown. Let me fix this. I've added Stripe checkout configuration 2. I notice the current implementation won't actually show a floating window with the countdown. This was my mistake. We've been over this multiple times. Doesn't show floating windows dynamic countdown. To achieve this behavior floating window, we need to create a custom checkout page, use Stripe elements, add our own floating window. That's what I was saying. So you mentioned we could do some wizardry where we can show a floating window atop the Stripe checkout page. How do we make this happen? I know we can't specifically add code to a Stripe checkout page, but you thought we could do a workaround. Let's remind it of what we were trying to do, and then we'll see what happens. But yeah, this is definitely a big part of this process where you do have to have patience. And also for something like this, like it literally may not be possible. So if we run into that, we'll figure out a different thing that we can do. I need to correct my previous statements. I was incorrect to be able to show a floating window on top of the Stripe checkout page. This is not possible due to security restrictions. Stripe checkout, okay, best approach we have. All right, so let's abandon the incremental showing the price change on the checkout page. Let's go with, okay, that's fine. Let's adjust so we're not trying to show a floating window. Let's just have the checkout page change in price based on our schedule. So for the 1 hour test product I've created, I should be able to see the checkout, and every 15 seconds, if I refresh the checkout page, the price will increase by $5. Correct? That's how this should work. So we won't have a floating window or any code injected on top of this. There won't be any countdown timer on the checkout page, which this does confirm, Joelle, what I had thought was the limitation, but Lovable said it wasn't, but now it's saying that it is. So let's see here. When a price schedule is incremental, the price is set an incremental amount. However, you're right. We need to modify the checkout creation to calculate the current price based on how much time has passed since the project was created. Let's update and create this. Okay, so now we're just moving forward to like have this checkout page work so that we could refresh it every 15 seconds and see if it's changed. And again, that's just for like this very short-term version of this. It's essentially what was already created with the other product bump sale that I had created, but I want to get to the point where we can create a schedule over the course of 7 days or 14 days or whatever you want. All right, you're still writing code. I do want to apply these changes. All right, so that code has been done. And let's see, once it's finished, let's proceed with implementing the code. Fantastic. You're doing a great job, Lovable. Yeah, this is the part of this where you can see like a lot can get done in a couple hours, but you can also get stuck at a certain place for a couple hours as well. All right, finish writing some code, my friend. Then we'll deploy again, and we'll be able to test this and see if just the checkout page itself is changing, which is fun because then that would mean that we at least have the functionality set up for what we're trying to do. Then also we can change this button color from green to blue, which I know we're all dying to do. I know I am. Support incremental pricing. Now when you create a product, base price, increase, show the current calculated price in the Stripe checkout page, creating a new product, copying the product link. Cool. So let's see. Will the 1 hour test product I already created, does that copy link URL work, or do I need to start with a new product because we have new code? Let's see what it says if it kind of updates it retroactively or if it's only for future things. We'll need to create a new product. All right, cool. This also gives us an opportunity to say, great, I will do that. We should allow the user to archive a product then. Please add a simple trash can icon in the top right of a product and style it similarly to the logout button with a trash icon, and on hover, say show text archive. Once you archive, we're going to put this somewhere better, but create a section that is of archived products that are grayed out. Let's just see what it does for that. Little see it in action bit in your landing page looks cool, where it shows you the current price countdown. Yeah, Joelle, obviously, like that would be the really fun thing to show on a checkout page. And you could do that if you were creating a custom page, but I do want to use Stripe checkout pages because they're just so much better and it's what everybody's using here. So this, we need to create something in the products table to move a product from active to archived. Fantastic. Database stuff, things I don't know. But yeah, also, Joelle, I didn't even tell it to really do that little design thing that you saw, the see it in action. I just said, can you create an example of what the price change could look like so someone could at least like understand what it was looking like. So it did a great job. Again, Lovable is getting better. It does start out with like very kind of like simple UI things, but if you just give it examples, screenshots, etc., it'll work through it. All right, it's implemented, but we have errors all over the place here. So let's try to fix it. Also, I really do think if you're someone who likes building landing pages, but you don't like landing page builders, I think Lovable could actually be a really interesting tool for building landing pages for different things on your website. It's really, really, really impressive the way that it can build landing pages very quickly. Okay, so we do have a trash can icon, and it says archive, but great. So you created the trash can. icon, but it is not styled in the UI we used for the log out button in the top right. Please match the trash icon to that. Let's call it trash can button so that we use the same language there. Gotta go be a parent. Allie, have fun being a parent. Would love some more of these. Yes. Waymo Stones coming next week. Hopefully we're gonna have some stuff for you all to look at. We will definitely be in Slack, chat about that for all you Waymers who are watching. So, Ray Chili, have fun. Becky, welcome back. We're adding a delete button right now, which is huge moves, but we do have some code fixes to see if we have the incremental price change working on a checkout page, but I'm on a little UI derailment here to see if I can get this trash can icon to be better. Let's see if it saves the changes and then does it. So it's working on this. Okay, there we go. That's good. All right. So just needs to be moved up a bit. So I'm just going to give it a screenshot and let's just show this. Great job. See how the trash can is covering up some of the countdown. Can you move the trash button up and to the right corner more of the card, the product card? Let's see if it can figure that out. And if it isn't perfect, we're just going to move on because, again, I want to do something more important to actually test that the thing that we're building is working and not just get stuck in UI land, which is very easy to do. But got to have things not covering things up. But we'll see if it figures that out. Look, it moved it. Perfect. Great job, machine. You did it. Okay, so we are going to archive this. All right, so that archived, it showed as grayed out. Fantastic. Let's create a new product. 1 hour test. 2. Really, really, really exciting. We are on to big things here. All right, when this expires, incremental pricing, $105, 15 seconds. We'll call this available for 2 hours. We're going to create this product. Again, we do need to clean up this UI to be a little bit more fun, but we're not getting stuck in UI journeys. Okay, fantastic. So let's go ahead and redeploy this now that we have the product created. And once that finishes, we can go over to our live URL here. Okay, so that should be this. So we should see, yep, we have our new product, we have our archive product. We're going to copy this link. We're going to all cross our fingers, see what this does. So it's going to load this product, and then we ended up with a 404 page. Doing it. All right, created a new product, copied the URL, and saw a redirect, then a 404 error. Why am I not seeing the Stripe checkout page with the price on it to purchase? Let's see what it says, because I feel like we really should have gotten to a place where we're not trying to do anything fancy with floating windows or anything really ridiculous. So let's see here. Check the flow, look at the URL structure is correct. This, reviewing the code, and navigation is incorrect. So the navigation for the product is just using 404. Okay, that's interesting. Implement to show the proper loading states and error messages. Okay, interesting. Let's see here. Don't need all these. Close your tabs, folks. Close your tabs. I've made several fixes, better loading states, fix navigation. Let me check the logs to see what's happening and try to access the page. I see there might be an issue with the create checkout edge function. Could you try creating another product and share the logs with me? Can you review the logs? I just created a new product a moment ago. 1 hour test 2. It really likes to tell you to check the logs, and I think this is because most developers don't mind going into the console logs and checking them. But as a non-developer, I don't like going into the logs, and I don't want to check them. Also, it can check them. I'll help you check the logs for your recently created product. Looking at the code, I noticed we need to make sure the Stripe secret key is properly configured. Thought we already did this. All right, so we have already added the stripe key and you have configured it a few times. I can see products are created in my Stripe account under products. So why is our URL from the copy link not showing that specific Stripe checkout page for the product and instead resulting in a 404 page? Let's see what it says. Also, if I ever get to a place where I'm just like absolutely stuck with this, which I don't feel like I am with this, I would just be, I would tell it like, hey, walk me through exactly what we're trying to do at this very moment. And like, what are the questions you need to ask me so that we can move forward? Let's diagnose whether product signals are working. I noticed that we need to ensure the price schedule, price ID is being properly set on both products. Let's check the logs. Let me check if the Stripe ID is being properly saved. Could you share the product ID from the URL you copied? It should look something like this. That is it. That's the thing that I had. Check the data. Viewing the data, I can see the issues with the URL format. The product URL should be /p, which we had /p. Application not present. Okay, so it's going to write some code that it doesn't need to write because it is actually doing the thing that it says it's not doing. But let's see here. Let's let it finish what it's doing. Really wants to refactor this code. So you asked for the product ID and I gave it to you, but the copy link URL has the P in it and looks like this. I don't know if the code you just wrote is going to fix the problem of not seeing a Stripe checkout page. Can you confirm what you did and if the URL should work properly now? Also, is the idea our URL will redirect to a Stripe checkout URL specifically, or will it always be our URL masked? Let's see what it says. Because it seems to me that at a certain point, you should be able to see the Stripe URL. So create my own personal app that I only use. It is basically a magazine of curated content pulled from the places I like to get content. Does that sound like something? Yeah, absolutely, Becky. I think that's a perfect example for this. I mean, I have a couple projects that I'm working on now that are all like, I would never need to publish them. They're just things that I'm kind of like toying around with and playing with. So yeah, I would absolutely think about using it for little personal projects. Also, anything you do as like a Google sheet or like an Excel sheet that you kind of update often, I think could become a really useful, lovable app that kind of works on its own for you. So I would definitely think through like, what are the things that I do that way that could actually become like little apps? Because that is like, to me, anytime you have a sheet for something that you update consistently, it's an app for sure. All right, customer visitors, test this. Visit your product page, click continue to checkout. You should be redirected to okay. I do not want to click a continue to checkout button. The copy link URL should automatically go to the Stripe checkout page. This is where Lovable does get a little bit vexing, where it tends to like go back on something we've already done and like try it again as a potential fix, but it's not actually fixing. It's just trying to do something. So you do have to remind it here. Yeah, I mean, I think Becky, the learning curve here is just being willing to talk to it through the like the prompt interface, and then just like learning. Like the first one you ever build, like the first app that I built in Lovable, it doesn't really work that well, but now I've learned how to do things. And like, we're seeing this one, like it's getting close to working, and like I could never have gotten this far in an hour and a half when I first started. But as you start to work on these projects, it definitely gets better. Okay, so understand. Now when someone goes, they will automatically redirect Stripe checkout page without needing to click any buttons. Okay, so let's go ahead and deploy this, and let's see what we have here. Oh, like how you work in Lovable? Becky, you just click the affiliate link that we have in the description of this, or just go to lovable.dev, and that's the website. And you just literally do it all through the website interface. If you've used ChatGPT, it's literally almost the exact same thing, except instead of having like a big chat window that you're working in, your chat window is smaller, and then you have an interface window where you're building things. That's the difference with Lovable. So it's not anything you have to download or install or anything at all. Okay, we have this URL. We're redirecting. Where are we going? Ooh. Okay, now we just have a white screen. So we didn't actually get anywhere. Okay, so let's tell it. Okay, I didn't get a 404 error when going to, but it redirected to just a blank page. Why am I not seeing the Stripe checkout? Real-time troubleshooting all the time. Yes, Becky, it is not an app on your phone at all. This is one of those things where like, I feel like this is a much better interface to be used on a desktop because you just need the real estate to be able to do things. I think you actually can use their, I think you can use it on your phone. Like I think the interface does work, but like you got to be able to see what you're doing. Now, if you're building a mobile version, which by the way, you can always toggle to the mobile view, and you can see this isn't like fully responsive, but like it does a pretty good job of writing reasonably responsive code. You can just tell it to make it responsive and it'll fix all of that. Okay, let's see here. So I've added extensive logging. Okay, I don't care about logging. Price ID. I shouldn't need to check the price ID. That is something the app should be creating when we create the product and set the price schedule. Can you verify we are doing those things correctly? Let's see what it's doing. Seems like it's getting stuck on not having a valid price ID, which could be something that is causing the page not to load. No idea. Looking at the code, first create a Stripe product and prices via the Stripe Connect product edge function. Then it creates the product. Finally, it creates the price schedules and stores the Stripe price IDs. Let's check the edge function creates the Stripe product and prices. That's important. So as at this very moment, right now, it's creating that. I've added extensive logging. Great. Oh, edge function creates Stripe product. The price IDs are returned and stored in the database. Let's check the log to see what's happening. Can you try creating a new product? I created the 1-hour test 2 product a few moments ago. Can you review that? Also, to be clear, are the prices being created in Stripe where needed, not just in our internal database? Let's see what that does. So it sounds to me like it's creating the prices in the database connected to the project, but it's not maybe necessarily creating those in Stripe, which it needs to create to reference for the checkout page, which is important to do both those things. Yeah, Becky, I would actually, you could use Lovable to build that, but if you want to do that for free, I think it's for free. I don't know, don't quote me on that, but ChatGPT's new tasks feature, when you create a new chat in ChatGPT, there's an option to do at the top where you choose your like ChatGPT model. There's a tasks thing that's in beta. I've actually used it for a couple different things, and you can tell it like, hey, every day at 9 a.m., send me a roundup of X or whatever. And because it can do searches now, it can actually pull things for you. So I think creating like an app to do that might be a little bit overkill. If it's just a daily task like that, excuse me, you could definitely use that new ChatGPT task feature. Okay, let's see. It's created with this, it has that, the flow is working. When you submit function, let me verify the data in your Stripe account. Can you please share your Stripe account email? Why do you need my account email? You have the Stripe API key and can access data through that connection that we already established. Yes? It's weird. Should be able to pull all that data through. All right, I'm going to keep going for another probably like 15, 20 minutes or so, see if we can get past this problem. If not, that's what happens with a limited amount of time here. So I apologize for the confusion since we already had the Stripe API key. Next function, let me check the Stripe product edge function, see what's happening. I can confirm products are being created, prices are being created. Okay, good. I can see that both the product and the price are successfully created. Would you like me to add more detail logging? You already have enough logging. Please thoroughly review why does not result in a Stripe checkout page. What could be causing this issue? List out all possibilities. This is where I feel like it's a really good example of you get stuck in a problem that it can't figure out. And so this is where I just like it to like take a holistic view and say, great, so this is the issue, this is what we're trying to solve. What are all the reasons why this could be happening? And I don't know if we're gonna necessarily get this to a solution, but it's at least how you can get it to think a little bit better or harder about what's going on. So Claire, I have to give Caroline about 75% of the credit for how I talk to AI tools because she is so much better at prompt engineering than I am. But I will say, through creating like 7 projects in Lovable so far, none of them to full completion yet, but just playing around a lot, you do learn a lot of the like, okay, I'm stuck, like what else can I try? And then you just start trying other things and it's helpful. Also, again, to be clear, if I was using Lovable and I was really concerned about how many messages I had, what I just asked it, I would have done in chat only because it doesn't cost you any message credits. And it would have not necessarily taken so much of the credits away. Let me analyze the complete flow. Okay, so you did that. Possible, possible, possible. Let me check the specific product ID. Could you try a new product? Let's see here. You can check the logs. I don't think we need to create a new product for this. Of the possible issues, well, let's spell possible, right? Possible issues you shared, are there any fixes we should put in place to make the current 1-hour test 2 product work? Let's see what we can do here. Yeah, and I will say, if any of you are super curious about Lovable, there are a bunch of people on YouTube that are creating Lovable content now. I say a bunch. I think it's probably like, 10 or less. But there's one guy, Brock, who's a younger guy that we've watched a bunch of his videos. He does a really good job of kind of sharing how he talks to it, and he also has a developer who helps him build apps and shows how to prompt it. And it's a fun way to learn, like, what are the things you can ask it, what are the words you can use to try and work through some things. Let's check the logs and fix the existing product. Looking at the logs, I can see the issue. Okay, we're not properly handling the Stripe key retrieval. Get the product user ID first. Use that to fetch the correct Stripe key. Add better error handling. Okay. All right, let's try this again because it's done a bunch of stuff here and we haven't deployed in a while. We haven't checked this link in a while. So let's see here. Added a chain of queries in place. Ooh, sounds exciting. Claire, I think it's always just like, what are the problems that you run into or that you have ideas about that you want to solve? And then just figuring out. One thing I told Becky earlier, I don't know if you were here or not, if you have a Google sheet or an Excel sheet or like a Notion database or like anything that you use and like you update it often or you like work on it regularly, to me, that could be an app for sure. And that's one thing I would definitely use Lovable for, is to try and create that. Okay, we redeployed code. We're copying this link. We're going to this link. We're preparing checkout, which is a whole different message. Hey, we got a Stripe checkout page. Fantastic. Okay. In 15 seconds, this should change from $100 to $105. Now, technically, I think we created this project or this a while ago. Yeah, 18 minutes ago. So the price should have gone up. I don't know if it's creating some sort of yeah. So this is going to be this specific URL. So what I'm curious about is if this URL is going to update or not. It might not. Let's see here. So I don't think that's going to change. So it's definitely been 15 seconds since this went up. So this price didn't change. But if I go back to this URL, let's see. Okay, interesting. All right, let me explain this to Lovable and see if I can fix it. Okay. Woohoo! First, let's celebrate. I can see the URL working. All right. I went to here. It redirected to here. So let's grab this link so I can give it this link as well, just so it has context. What did not happen is I don't see the checkout page with a different price. It has been 20 minutes since creating the product, and it has a $5 increment increase every 15 seconds. So the price should be a lot higher than the original $100 price. Is there something you missed in our copy link URL needs to change? Which Stripe checkout page URL / checkout page price it shows as the time goes on? Let's see. The incremental pricing thing I think is very tricky on this much of a schedule. Like I don't think this is definitely the best way to do it. Yeah, Kevin, it's very interesting because the way that I would understand it, and again, not a developer, is that this Stripe checkout page is really ever going to be this price. Like there's no way that this specific Stripe checkout page is going to change. So it's like, as long as someone like has this URL, it's always going to be $100. But if they were to refresh this page, I guess my thought was that this was going to update, but now that I'm thinking about it out loud, this is always going to just be this one Stripe checkout page. So the only thing that's going to actually change the price is if someone clicks this link, which is okay because again, that's a limitation of the way that we're doing this with this incremental price. But yeah, let's see here. When we create the checkout session, we're not calculating the current price based on the time elapsed in incremental price settings. There we go. We need to modify this. Let's update this. This means, okay, so it's currently finishing the code to do that, which is great. So yeah, I think using the like incremental pricing example of this, like basically recreating a version of the bump sale product that I had created before, it's not the best first use case scenario, but it's the one where I just wanted to see as quickly as possible, what would work. I just redeployed the code, but I'm not sure if this is going to actually work. Is that, let's see, is that going to work on my existing 1 hour test to product link URL, or do I need to create a new product to see the price change? Let's see what it says here. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to create a new product, but we have an archive button, so let's see what it says. I'm just happy we finally got to see a Stripe checkout page. The changes we made to the will work with your existing. Okay, all right, cool. So that should work. So let's close these existing Stripe checkout pages. Let's go here. We've refreshed that. Let's copy this. All right, so we went to the URL. It's preparing our checkout. And celebration time is over. Okay. I just tried to view check our copy link URL, and it resulted in a blank page after redirect. Can you check the logs for any issues, and why are we back to not seeing a page? Are the prices being created ahead of time based on our schedule set? If not, we should create the entire price schedule in Stripe ahead of time so it's always ready. So essentially what I just asked it was, it might have created the price schedule in our database, but it's not actually creating the price schedule in Stripe for every single time the price would change. And in this instance, it would be a lot of changes. But let's see what it's saying here. We should create all the schedule prices up front. Exactly. So this is where you just start to like learn a little bit about Lovable of like, it'll do, you give it a task and it does kind of like the first part of it, but then it like doesn't do like the full thing. So you kind of have to think through and talk through what it's working on to figure it out. Let's let it figure this out. Create all schedule prices in advance. So this would definitely tell me that we're probably gonna have to create a new product. And maybe what I'll do is not have one that's so intense on the schedule, just so we can not have it be crazy, but let's see. So once I finish this, will this work with the 1 hour test 2 product, or do I need to make a new product? This change creates all possible price points in a product is created and stores them in Stripe with metadata to track what increment they belong to. When someone visits the product, it calculates the increment we should do. Try creating a new product. Existing products. See, this is where I really do like Lovable's interface, because it does think ahead like, okay, you've already asked me about existing products. So guess what we get to do? Archive. All right, let's create a new product. So 1 hour test 3. And we need to go to wayne.co. We've yet to have this expire. Let's actually do that. So let's have this be price increment, $5 every 15 seconds. And this is going to last for, let's call it 10 minutes. Oof, that's tricky because it might expire. But we also haven't seen one expire either, so that'll be fun to see. All right, so create that product. And I guess I could have done it in the deployed version, but I'll go ahead and redeploy our changes and wait for that to finish. This didn't work. All right, so refresh this. I could have done it in this interface as well. So let's copy this. Let's see if we get a page. Preparing checkout. All right, we got a Stripe page. Okay, interesting. So it's a slightly different looking Stripe checkout page, which I'm not exactly sure why that is. But let's see, we have 15 seconds here. I'm fairly certain that the specific Stripe URL that we're on here is not going to change. But one thing I did want to check was if I go incognito, which you all can't see, but I'm just viewing the link incognito to see if it's a different Stripe layout, and it's not. It's basically the same, so it's very simple. All right, so it's definitely been 15 seconds. Let's refresh this page. So that page is no different, but if I go to, whoa, amount of characters, our URL again, so it's still the same price. Okay, I made a new product and the Stripe checkout page worked, but after 15 seconds, I didn't see a new price, even if I went to the copy link URL again. Why am I not seeing the price change when going to here every 15 seconds as I set in the schedule? Let's see. It says 10 days left on the timer. Ooh, probably because I... Christy, you're very right. That's interesting. Claire, you do really get used to, like, I will tell you, when I first started working with Lovable, I got so frustrated so quickly. But like when you realize that you're not having a developer work on things and you're like, it's a fraction of the overall cost and time wise, like just having a developer create an authentication system for an app, like the sign in, sign up, forgot password, like that's like a full day or two of work for them, setting up all the database tables and everything. So um, yeah, this is a great question, everybody. Also, it does bring up something very interesting, which is there's no way to edit an existing product, which I'm not sure. We probably need to do that as well. Calculate how much time has passed since product creation. You should not be there when you're refreshing the product link. Okay. Let's see here. But yeah, this is where it is kind of nice to be live doing something, because if I left it at 10 days instead of 10 minutes, because I don't remember if I wrote that. Also, I think if you all are watching this live, you can go back in the video and you can see when I created that product. Will you let me know, did I actually create it for 10 days or was it for 10 minutes? Because that could totally be my fault, but it also could be something with the app that we should look up. So let me deploy this. Let's close these. Also awesome to have some people here like working through this. It's like extra eyes as we're no coding our way through an app. Okay, so that's deployed. Let's refresh. Copy the link. Go. Preparing the checkout. Okay, so the price has already increased multiple times since this was created, which is fantastic. In like a few seconds, this should definitely change, which is fun. So again, if I just refresh this link, it's not going to do anything. But if I go to our link again, let's see if that has changed. Hey, all right. So it is absolutely not perfect, but what we have working right now, everybody, is a product that we have set a price incremental schedule to. As the schedule moves forward, this one has a very fast schedule, the price changes. So we were at $175, and because we set this up as a test where every 15 seconds it goes up by $5, it went up to $185. It doesn't happen on the page. There's already a product out there that does this that I created called Bump Sale, which does what we're trying to do. However, this shows the original idea of this product, which was to create a way to set up like a buying schedule where you have an early bird price for a couple days, and then after a couple days it changes in price. This would absolutely do that. So if someone was to click our link from here, which we would just include this link in like emails or social or whatever, this link would always dynamically update based on that schedule to change the price over time. And now I think there's some metadata that we could probably add into this. So like future things that we would want to add into this to make it better is in the app here, we would definitely want to be able to edit this product. We would want to, when creating a new product, first of all, update this UI to look better. But we would want to be able to add maybe an image on the checkout page, anything that Stripe lets you update on a checkout page. So just like some metadata and other things, that's really great. So lots of fun options there. Also, pay without link. Yeah, I think also in my account settings, yeah, you'll have Google Pay, you have Link, you have Klarna, and other things. So open the checkout page, hold in a tab for a while. Yes, so that would be a limitation. If they kept this Stripe checkout page open, they would be able to kind of use that price forever. But this is kind of a limitation of, I want to use Stripe checkout pages because they are the highest converting, best, just overall most efficient pages. And like in Teachery, for those of you who use Teachery and know Teachery right now, we don't use Stripe checkout. We use an older thing called Stripe Elements, and that you can kind of do a lot more of this and like change things. However, the checkout experience is just bar none better on these Stripe checkout pages, and the checkout conversions are much higher too because it's just way slicker and faster. But yeah, I'm really happy that we got this working. I'm excited that this price continues to go up. Let's see where we're at now. I would definitely want to improve that redirecting thing. I don't think it needs to be that slow or that important, but yeah, we're at $235 now. The price is going up. You better buy. I think again, I would think through some of the different scenarios. This isn't the best execution for doing the incremental pricing and watching it, but that wasn't the intended idea of this product. This product was more about building a schedule for a product launch and then just having a dynamic URL that the price changes. It's really easy to check out. And then we have a success message and things that you can do for it. So I think that's it. I think that's all I'm going to do for this little live stream here. So, oh, I did put 10 minutes, not 10 days. Okay. Ooh, let's tell it that, Christy. Thank you so much for saying that. Hey, in my 1 hour test 3 product, I selected a duration of 10 minutes, but the countdown timer on the, let's give it a screenshot. Always love giving it screenshots. On the product card in the dashboard shows 10 days. Can you figure out what happened there? Very cool. Yeah, I'm just really excited that like literally right now, in case you all were curious, this public URL of the project, if I was to give this to you all, you could essentially sign up. You could add your own Stripe API key, which is very easy. I could change that to OAuth now that it's a public project. You could make a new product with a schedule. You could sell that product, and you could literally start making money based on a schedule with a product, and the price could change. I did all of that in 2.5 hours total. So been on here for almost 2 hours. I spent about a half hour ahead of time doing all of the kind of setup stuff that just is not really fun to watch. It's like setting up the Supabase project. It doesn't take long, but it's just like little steps along the way, and then all the little UI tweaks for the landing page. So really, really, really cool to like see this happen this quickly, to be able to get a functioning product. There's so many tweaks to make and so many things to polish this, but literally in 2.5 hours, I have a working thing that you could sell products. So, which is really fun. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's, Christy, that's a funny question here. All right. Let's see what happened. I see the issue in the product countdown component. When calculating the total duration, we're assuming all durations are either in hours or days. There we go. Ooh, so this product has 0 minutes left because we set it up as 10 minutes. That's right. Okay, cool. So 10-minute duration if you refresh the dashboard. So now that we're at 0 minutes left, I'm actually really curious what happens here. Does it create a new product? It only creates one product, I believe, and then it just creates pricing variables of that product here, but let's check it out. Yeah, so I started this 2 hours ago, and I had 25 products in my Stripe account. I now have 29, so there's only 4. So yeah, it created 4 prices in here, but I'm sure it created more than that. So yeah, I think the only reason, interesting. So I'm guessing that we would have seen a lot more prices in here had more people clicked the URL during the time frame when it was set. But because I was the only person who clicked the URL 4 times, that was the only bit of pricing that you actually saw. But that's really nice. Like that actually keeps it pretty clean, pretty simple. You would be able to see, I think, instead of subscriptions, I think this would probably show purchases, which is nice. So every time the link is generated, it kind of like shows the price. So yeah. All right, well, I'm gonna wrap it up there. This is super fun. Thanks to all of you who watched this live. If you just tuned into this and you just checked it out for no reason whatsoever, you probably got lost in a lot of this. But for those of you who have heard us talk about Lovable and building these little apps, this is truly a game changer to be able to build apps in this interface and to do things without any code, any really experience other than just like we've worked on building apps with developers, and now we have a tool that can help us do it ourselves. Also, just the last thing here, just to finish out, obviously something we all care about. Please update this button color to our main blue button color. They wanted this green button color. Come on, we need to make this a blue button color to finish out here. Just the simple things to make you happy. So yeah, that'll do it for this video. Again, if you watch this in the replay version here after this was live, hope you got some value out of it and it was fun to see me working in Lovable. If you liked it, feel free to leave a comment that you enjoyed it and you want to see more of these. And yeah, maybe we'll do more of these. We've got a bunch of different apps that we're working on. It's definitely not our correct blue. That is a blue, but that's not our correct blue. And this is where you got to help this thing out here. All right, that's it. We'll see you guys. Thank you so much. Bye.